What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Justin here again as always, aka Adobe One Kenobi, and today we are talking drones, specifically how to edit your drone footage so it looks cinematic as just like this. Now with that being said, if you're new to the channel, my name is Justin Turan, full-time filmmaker, and here on this channel, I post everything from tutorials to travel videos and everything in between. So if you're a fan of that kind of thing, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I post weekly and I really appreciate it. Now, let's jump right into today's video. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open Premiere, and you'll see I have a few different drone clips in my project here, and since they were shot at 60 frames per second, I'm going to interpret them down to 23.97, which is just gonna slow them down about 50%. Now I usually tend to shoot all my drone footage at a higher frame rate, so I have the option to slow it down. And with my drone in particular, it's a DJI Mini 2. I can shoot 60 frames at 2.7K, which is still a high enough resolution. Now I'm just going to quickly attach these proxies for a quicker workflow. If you don't know how to set up proxies or what they are, you'll have to check a different video because we don't have time to get fully into that, but just know it makes your workflow a lot smoother while you're working with heavier files. So I'm just gonna scrub through my footage here quickly to pick out the best clip for me to edit and show you guys kind of my workflow. I've got a lot of different options here because I've got some good shots of the cityscape, but I'm gonna find one in particular. So I think this is a pretty good clip right here. It's got quite a bit going on. It's kind of tilting down while moving upwards and moving towards the city, which is kind of nice. So I'm gonna hit my endpoint, cut it there, and cut at my endpoint right about there. Now, the first thing that I'm gonna do, and I'll do with pretty much every drone clip, is I'm going to add a warp stabilizer on it. You don't always need to do this, but I find with a lot of your drone clips, you're gonna have a bit of jerking, just the way the axis is on the drone itself, especially if you're panning or moving quickly. Just overall, because I find it makes the shot a little bit cleaner. So I'll drag that onto my clip. I'll go up to my effects control. You're probably pretty good just leaving it with the default settings. If you're gonna play with anything, play with the method and the smoothness. I'll usually leave it subspace warp at 50%, but sometimes I find if you need it to be a little bit stronger, putting it to perspective and 30% is a good alternative. And then you just wait for it to finish stabilizing and you'll play it back and you'll notice it's just a tad bit smoother. All right, moving on to our next step. Now I'm going to do a bit of color correction. So I'm gonna add Lumetri color onto my clip. I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna open up the creative tab and I'm just gonna pick a basic LUT. I have a bunch of LUTs that I usually use. They're called cinematic LUTs, but you can find LUTs anywhere online. A lot of creators offer them for free, and you just gotta find a couple that you really like, and it's kind of like your starting point. So right now I'm gonna look at my log LUTs because this footage was shot as a flat color profile, which gives you a lot more dynamic range. Depending on the drone you have, most of them should have a flat profile option. You just have to do a bit of research and figure out where to access yours. Now you'll notice the LUT comes on a little strong, so we'll go down to our intensity and put it at about 50 or maybe 70, whatever looks good. And now we're gonna go up to our basic correction and really fine tune it. So what I usually do is lower the highlights quite a bit so we don't have the sky completely blown out. And then I'll probably adjust the exposure a little bit to kind of equal that out as well. Next, I'll probably crank up the contrast a little bit just to give that bit of separation between the highs and the lows. And it's looking a little blue because it was a gloomy day, so I'm gonna work with the temperature a little bit and warm it up just slightly. Now I'm going to increase the blacks up to about 40 and then just lower the shadows. I find that lowering the shadows is a better way to crush your blacks than actually just lowering the blacks. And then again, I'm gonna lower the whites a little bit just to get those highlights not overblown, and then compensate with increasing the exposure a little bit more. Now, if you notice, I turn the effect on and off. We've got quite a noticeable difference in color, and I think that looks really good. Now, I'll probably, because it was a gloomy day out, up the saturation just a little bit. You don't have to, but it's a personal preference. It just makes it a little bit more vibrant, and I think that looks really good. Now, finally, what I'm going to do is create an adjustment layer to put over top of the clip that we're working with, and I'm going to add what we call letterboxing. It's those cinematic black bars that you'll see on a lot of edits, like the top and the bottom black bars. And it also gives us the opportunity to keyframe the footage up and down, which really comes in handy because we have that extra bit of space where the black bars are to work with. So I'll put my adjustment layer above my footage, and then I will add the crop effect on top of that adjustment layer. And then I'm gonna put the top crop to somewhere between 13 or maybe 18. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the bottom crop. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. And now I'm going to just keyframe the position. So I want the frame to start lower, and I'm going to keyframe it up. So we're kind of revealing the cityscape as if the drone was sort of tilting up very drastically as moving forward towards the city. So the nice thing about the letterboxing is that you can add those keyframes and make your shot a little bit more dynamic with movement. Now, if we render it and play it back, voila, it looks a lot better. We went from our dry, flat footage to something very cinematic that could be out of the opening sequence of a high-budget music video or something else. So a few easy, simple steps can take your footage from basic to very professional looking.
And that's it for today's video. Super quick but effective tips and tools that you can use to turn any drone footage that you've shot or have into a cinematic masterpiece. Now, with that being said, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more of it, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and we are almost there. Also, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And finally, let me know in the comments what kind of video you want to see moving forward, whether it's a tutorial, something different, or something completely out of left field. Just let me know. I like making videos that I know the people want to watch. I'm all for the people. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.